Good morning, everybody. Let's get started for today, man to man. I'm 72, the Architect, aka Jason B,
In my
and it's
work-
been a little bit since I've made a man to man, and I wanted to talk today about character, and that's what we're going to get into really shortly here. So let me do real quick something I'm working on, and we'll just be right back. 1 second. All right, I wasn't prepared. To man, that's okay, man to man. Character. All right, let's go. All right, here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, man to man back in action. Here's Sunday. What is it? May 1st? Is that, do I have it right? It's May Day. All right, it's May Day. In Hawaii, I remember visiting on vacation that it's May Day. So what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about character. Yeah, it's very, very important to many of us, but do we realize how it takes place, how we shape it, all that good stuff? So let's really get into it just here in a moment. So I'm producing live on YouTube, also producing on, I believe, Facebook, Twitch, or Twitter Spaces, and as well as Wisdom. So and Clubhouse, can't forget all those platforms. So what made me want to really look at character today? And I would have to say, actually, quite a few things. To be honest with you, it's it came to me like as I've been working through my personal struggles, whether it's in business, for like my dealing with my kids, or just everything. And, as I've had time to kind of like scale back, review exactly what I'm talking about, whom I talk to, what I talk about, and how I receive things is based and actions is based on my character. And so how do I shape it? And it's something that it's always an ongoing thing. And character is not something that's just so easily defined sometimes, but what can we do about it? So let's really get into, let me pull up my notes. So for this, May 1st, what is good character? Character is defined as the mental and moral qualities of an individual. Now, many Stoics believe that character could be a person's resolve and defense for seen or unforeseen attacks. But there's are a few references that I like to use. Like, for example, Musonius Refus in his lecture 16.75, 15 through 16, he says, "For philosophy does consist of an outward display by taking heed to what is needed and being mindful of it." But you go on to Epictetus, who gets more into character in his discourses, 1.25. He says, just as what we consider rational or irrational differs for each person, in the same way, what is good and evil, useful or useless. The difference for each person is why we need to educate. And so we might learn how to adjust and preconceived notions of rational or irrational harmony with nature. In sorting this out, we don't simply rely on our estimate of what value external things, but also apply to the rule is what is keeping us within our character. Okay. So the first major point is you may be asking, hey, Jason, how can I relate to these old guys from the past? That is a great question. To answer this question, look at our behavior. Who helped train us? More than likely, it was our parents, religions, elders, education, systems, family, and real life situations. Our ability to adapt our emotional position or logical position is based on beliefs. Many will argue the dogmas are the absolute truth. They are proven in historical documents, lectures that we pass on from generation to generation. But the starting point for character is when we begin in our education and training. In my opinion, the earliest memories came to me from my mother and my father. Do this, not that. You're doing wrong. You're doing it great. No matter what phrase you can remember where those words came from, made an impact for an outcome. This is where belief and trust is developed. Now, if we look at the point, is if we having some training, and as the times change, so do our models, our teachers, our shapers of our character do as well. As men, especially, we must take an active role in conscious character training. World, region, or theoretical views we change throughout the ages. Technology has definitely connected us in fast and impressive ways that are far beyond most of my conceived ways or understanding. In the past, the foundations of basic character training stands alone, though. For example, you see a man walk into a room, and his appearance is well kept, strong, and he doesn't announce himself to all. And in the company, pay attention. People give a glance or a stare, whether familiar or unfamiliar. He is what, or who is he, or oh, that is. The physical presentation of calm, collective could be seen as admirable. But you take on another man who may not be as kept in his appearance, as casual, loud, and tells everyone, "Hey, I'm here." And and the company around him may think, "Oh God, one of those guys." What's the difference? Interesting that we observe because we say good or bad. This begins the judgment and discernment process. So, what made each? We look at the impressions each man or woman will have in response to some way from a pass to a no pass. So, why one person cares more about the way that they carry themselves versus not care and make the difference? Let's not stop there. What about the way that we speak? Yes, the way that we speak, we respond, the tone, and it's a major factor. Good character or a good moral person can be the one who chooses carefully what is said and who it's said to. We constantly see in many spaces those beliefs shape the action or reaction in casual conversation. I have personally heard people refer to society. Now, this is a major point. Society, community, culture, religions is having a weight on our minds constantly. According to my observations in the last 3 months, I've seen people disqualify acceptance based on the standards that they are set by others in societies, communities, and cultures. The moral shape is the authority of conflict. When it boils down to, you know, are we honest, trustworthy, and so on and so forth. But constantly, I've seen prejudice in action in so many areas, defiled morals and good character on assumptions. The color of your skin, the language you speak, the gossip, the small talk, the preconceived decisions based on assumptions. Yet all the training done within society is taught not to, you know, yet all the training done in all those theologies and supposedly the good models are supposedly to treat us not to harm or judge. But I find that very, very conflicting. You may be asking, what can I do to train a good character? Now, in my opinion, to begin good character, start with breathing. We do it all the time unconsciously, sleep or awake. Many won't be training your breath in joy. Many won't realize by training your breath in joy or in anger or even sadness can make the difference. As emotions arise, we breathe to hold our emotional space. Now, the second most important factor is that training your character is what we say in the conscious area of your life. This is a conscious area where I realize constantly I must train because the impulsiveness to argue and debate, in my opinion, presents a position that may not be accurate to others, what they see and receive. Now, number three, what we hear in an area of life is very important. Our areas of life are where we hear things, what we listen to, and whom we listen to. There is a saying, show me the top five people you're around, and I'll show you who you are. The patience is that we hold for ourselves is a reflection of what we allow in our beliefs. Now, fourth, attention is yours. Owning your level of attention is very important. If a person accuses you to be false, bad, or a fraud, do we look at the motive of the level of choice to react? Many times there is no room for attention on people or things that don't have any purpose other than to get a reaction. In this book that I read, The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, he says he bases his book on, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. Don't make assumptions and do your very best. Now, those are essential, in my opinion, of the beginnings of good character. So, your breath, look at yourself. Do I need to say something? Or my attention does require me to say something? When someone's saying something, if it's a personal attack, do I need to give a reaction or a defense? By carefully crafting that choice alone can make the difference, in my opinion. Now, when we look at how a person shapes their character, whom they shape their character around, could make a vital, vital difference. I can't tell you how many times I have heard people literally tell me that when they look at another, they will say, well, I don't accept this person based on this, or I don't like this person based on that. But are we really giving them a fair shot? Maybe they were having a bad day, or maybe, just maybe, we are the ones that are making a problem for ourselves. Now, when I come to conclusions about, shaping my character, my emotional response to things, it's based on a couple of things. At the end of my day in reflection, and when I journal write, or I think about, did I walk away in peace? Did I leave a conversation or did I leave a good impression that I am proud of? A lot of times we're not really conscious exactly of that. We're not even thinking about good character or good moral. But yet, many people will say, well, God will take care of it, or my training and my culture says this. It is the absolute authority. Now, I'm not here to defile those things, but what I've come to understand is the level of my training, the knowledge, the wisdom that's been developed through experience. Yes, your experience can shape your character. It can be good or bad, but you're going to have to be understood in yourself. Say, like, you speak up too often. Maybe you don't speak up enough. How do we represent in good character and good moral? We have to think about that constantly. And when we think about these things constantly in presence, in your now, not tomorrow, not 5 weeks from now, not 2 years or 5 years, when we think about exactly how our character is presented, we have to take the measure in timing and patience. What are tools to help shape our character? Meditation, reading, being allowed to learn. Allow yourself to learn, even if you know the same thing over and over and over again, allowing yourself exactly to learn. Because even though you may know it, maybe the different direction or presentation could actually shape yours a little better. When we deal with interpersonal development in people, we don't know how far we are preconceived or judged. The only thing we can do is take an acceptance and judgment for ourselves. That's why most of people's opinions don't matter. And that's, really something. Now I have a guest who'd like to come up on wisdom. Let's see. Oh, I have Maria Humphreys. I haven't seen you on here before, Maria. I know Maria from my days in Anchor and also on Clubhouse. So welcome in, Maria. Good morning. How you doing?
Can you hear me, first of all?
You are speaking. Yeah, we can hear
Oh
you.
my goodness, Jason, this is the first time I've ever been on Wisdom at all. And I'm so happy to hear your voice.
Oh,
I am
great.
s- I'm sick right now, so my voice is a little hoarser than usual. But I love what you are talking about. I almost feel bad interrupting you. You are doing such a great job. I think that self-analysis is something that needs to be ongoing all of the time.
Hmm.
And just like you're saying, we work up the tools, we figure out what works for us. And when we're in relationship with other people, when we start to feel any feelings of resentment or upset at how they are, just like you were just saying, we have to analyze ourselves. Is it because we want to be like some part of that person and
Hmm.
we're mad because we don't have that? Or is it helps us, that angst kind of helps us become stronger in our own character too, if we are very different from that person. So it helps so much to mix it up, obviously, with
Hmm.
people who think and behave differently than ourselves. That self analysis helps us shape who we are, for sure. I love what you are saying.
Absolutely. And when but here's the big pinnacle thing that we cannot overjudge or overanalyze ourselves, because when we do that, we block our energy of ourselves flowing. And the tools like meditation, breath work, even when you're busy, when you're working, or even what you're listening to, you could be, some people say, well, I'm a good multitasker. I need noise in the background. I need something. A lot of times they're, they defer. You're not really accomplishing your best. You're really counterproductive in your character. Like, I mean, some people say, well, I need to have music or I need to have a podcast going when I'm doing very critical analysis work. But the consciousness shaped with your character is very, very important. Now, Maria, you have a lot of experience in meditation. I know that you teach meditation or you run meditation classes and mindfulness sometimes. And you've spoken to many people within your own podcast. How important is the tool just for meditation, for the sake of the conversation, is important in shaping your character?
Absolutely. I mean, that self awareness, self awareness is key. And that can only be accomplished by working on yourself. When we are looking outside of ourselves constantly, that sense of comparison and competition leads to pointing fingers. It's somebody else's fault. It's all inside of us.
Right.
And, I won't go on about it too much here for your listeners, but I think the most important thing when we're talking about meditation, we're talking about any kind of tools,
Mhm.
compassion, self compassion. Like you
Right.
just said, over analysis, self criticism, self loathing.
Hmm.
All of that comes from comparison to other people.
And is it something that many of us are truly aware of? I mean, a lot of us know these things. We've seen good character. Like I was using my example, a good man versus an unkept man. A good man, it's like, hey, do I need to make a voice or a spectacle of myself? No, not necessarily, you
Hmm.
know, but do I greet people in genuine authenticity? That is a representation of a good character. For example, one of the things I learned about character shaping, that I was reminded of, when someone walks into a room, don't stay seated. When someone walks into a room and you're in your familiar home, whether someone else is greeting the door or not. I had this really bad habit, and a friend of mine pointed it out to me, and he's like, "Why do you stay seated?" And I'm like, "You're home, but don't be lazy." And I was like, You're right. You're right. Absolutely right. My bad manners. But these unconscionable bad manners constantly interrupt our flow because our mind is not on our matters. Our
Right.
It's very, very important that people must understand what matters to you is not maybe mattering to everyone else.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And I love what you just said, that your friend could actually say something to you about it, because that's key too.
Hmm.
Accepting constructive criticism
Well, I
from the
take it as
people
not a
around you.
criticism at all. It's a critique. Now, here's a big
Right.
difference. Something I learned a little while ago. The difference between a criticism and a critique is a critique observes the behavior or action and says what it is. A criticism is a negative description in which behavior is used to adjudicate or judge. So, I try to do my best to, when my friend critiqued me, he gave me an asset to work with. When
Right.
if he criticized me, I'd be like, well, then get the hell out of my house, but
Right.
you
Right.
know,
That's funny. I mean, vocabulary means different things to different people. When I use the word constructive in front of the word criticism,
mhm,
to me, that is equal to critique.
right.
So it depends. And it depends on the intention. You can feel the intention from somebody. If they're pointing out a typo in your Twitter post, if they're
Mhm.
trying to help you so that you can take it down and fix it, or if they're being like, oh, there you go, you made another mistake, and being a know it all, bossy, it's two different kinds of energy.
It is. It very much is. And we have to be always mindful of whom we're talking to. Not
Yes.
everyone is qualified. I hate to say it like this, but not everyone is qualified to be in conversations. That was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to accept. And because it makes it sound us like almost like we're arrogant. But there are some people that will zap. I have been an energy vampire. I have been a very toxic man. I am a recovering nice guy, and when I understand that and I allow myself, I am not necessarily everyone's cup of tea.
Right, right. And that's self awareness, and that's okay. That's so interesting that you're saying this, because this is my very first time here
Mhm.
on the Wisdom app. And I notice, it says, the place for wisdom and coaches. And I haven't, floated around in here very much.
Mhm.
But from my experience on places like Clubhouse or various audio places, people are bantering around that word coach and mentor, kind of loosely sometimes.
They are.
I think that's the beauty of social audio, though, is that you can feel someone's authenticity when they're speaking. So if somebody enters a room, for me, if they start rambling about all their certifications, it, it kind of is a red flag for me, frankly.
Yeah, it is. And
I
it's
want to
really
hear what they
sad.
actually have to say. Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of I don't want to get too deep into that, but that becomes begging on qualified authority or sovereignty of what somebody says. So when
Hmm.
we look at what these things, and I'm being mindful, I'm not a life coach. Right now, all I'm a simple business guy. I have 49 years of life experience, and that's what allows me to be able to come on and speak here. People can accept or reject what I have to say. I'm not here to qualify any other circumstance, but I'm allowing myself to perform and to be received. And like, for example, you're talking to me here live on Wisdom. So that also gives a different perspective. That also gives something where it's like now we're communal and now we can actually enjoy each other's conversations.
Exactly. And I don't mean to say the word coach or mentor or those things are not
Hmm.
bad. We need labels to figure out how to interact with each other,
To a
but
degree, to a degree, I
yeah,
believe,
to a
to a degree.
degree. I
Yeah, we
agree.
we can't. It's not a catch-all. That's the thing. It's like when it
Right.
says, "Say, hey, I'm a Sagittarius, or I'm a Libra, or I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a Jew." A lot of people use the self-describers, as Wayne Dyer would say, as agree of stance for your sovereignty in reflection to others and how you're going to be received. Now, if I didn't greet anyone with my beliefs, my culture, you'd have to start paying attention more to what I'm saying. But see, we want the quantitative to be our qualitative, and that doesn't always agree. That doesn't always make sense. Like people say, I don't have time.
Mhm.
I don't have time for your experience. I don't have time. And it's like, thank you. I appreciate you. Move on. Have a nice day. Now, could that be considered rude? Absolutely. But see, you're not always, you can't fit into everyone's emotional position. And this is why character itself, training your character is going to make the big difference in your longevity, because it can help you decide, like, okay, well, that person is obviously in a position that they don't want to talk, or maybe I'm not there. Maybe it's not good for me to have that conversation. So that also says a lot about ourselves, in my
Right.
opinion.
And the ability to admit that those feelings, those reactions can change. Your
Hmm.
next encounter can be different with that same person.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's helpful to be open to learning from people, even if you do get some sort of negative vibe from people. If you're going to encounter them again in the future, you'll be mindful of that, and it
Hmm.
all informs each interaction informs the next.
Right. And when we look at our reactions, sometimes delaying them, you know, can make a difference.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow, thank you, Maria, so much for coming up. I have Cyber Shots actually in the queue waiting. So,
Perfect. I'll
so
say goodbye. Have
all
a good
right,
day.
all right.
All
Make sure
right.
that
Talk to
everyone
you
give
soon.
her a follow. Maria's brand new to the platform, so welcome, Maria. You
I'm
know.
glad I caught you out here.
All right, all right.
Bye bye.
I've got Cyber in the queue next. All right, let's see what we got. Swap guess. Here we go. And three, two, one. All right, Cyber
Yo, yo.
Shots. How you doing this morning?
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. So, what are your thoughts on character?
My thoughts on character.
Hmm.
One thing about character that have found out over the years, the main thing about a character, well, your character is being yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And that takes years to learn. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, it
They say
does.
that by the age of 40, you really find out who you are. You know what I'm saying?
It
You
starts,
walk in the mirror
from
and look
day
in the mirror
one,
and say, hey, you,
from your day one, from whoever held you, your mother or step parent or surrogate parent or whoever, the person that held you and beginning the voice to your experience. It's it to me, that's where it
no
first
doubt,
starts. Your training is right there. It's because you know nothing. You come into the world like, hey, it's cold out here. Hey, what am I gonna do? You know?
no doubt.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm listening.
Oh yeah. So it's like okay, like you said, character thing like that you had mentioned. As far as people judging people, that's a big thing. A lot of people have this judgment type of personality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And instead of, like you said earlier, instead of taking the time to know a person, like you said, they might have been having a bad day. You know what I mean? You just want to automatically judge this person. That could have been your one connection or a friend or someone that you could have had in the rest of your life that would help you. You could help them. You could build and bond a friendship.
Hmm.
And a lot of people take that word friend lightly. You know what I'm saying? But since you took the time to judge this person, you know what I'm saying? You blew that opportunity.
Right. And do you ever feel that, people can get you wrong? I mean, constantly we see it all the time in conversations. Cyber, we've known each other for at least 5 years. How many times have you seen like people create a reaction based on assumption and then really lose out on an opportunity of knowing somebody great?
All the time, especially in social audio. And I think the thing about that is like everybody has their own platform. You know what I'm saying? Which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
People don't always use their voice. You know what I mean? They don't use their voice to meet new people, to network, to build. A lot
Right.
of people just come on, social media or whatever for boredom. So
The
we have to
idle
like force
time.
it.
That's a great
Yeah,
example.
there you go.
Your idle hands can destroy your opportunities and what people believe about you. When I first came on to Anchor years ago, matter of fact, Maria Humphreys is now on. She was just on a moment ago. And I met you guys when
Oh
I was
yeah, I
doing
saw that.
Anchor.
Shout
And
out to Maria.
yeah. And honestly, I'll admit I was a pompous ass and very
Pompous
full of
brat.
my own ego. I was too busy smelling my own farts. And it's just I had a lot of this anger and charge in me that I wanted to talk, but because of you guys, believe it or not, and even No Show and many other people throughout the platforms I've been on have made an impact to make me evaluate my projection of myself. Now, how can I be more patient, willing, and accepting to anyone? And
No doubt.
that's definitely that's a tough pill to swallow, if you don't mind me saying. But
Yeah.
but if you're willing to go down that road and and see it for what it is, you might enjoy a lot more out of life. And I really got to quote Steve Harvey. I saw it on a TikTok or an Instagram. He said something about himself. No one has the right to use your past over and over on you. Your
Mm,
character, your good character can start from today. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to have obstacles or challenges, but it definitely means you have the right. So no longer my past is my past. My choice to be better in the now, in today, is important enough, and my respect for myself will stand on its own ground. So, I really got to thank Steve Harvey for saying that because it made a difference for me. I was like, you know what? I've been taking a lot of crap lately, honestly.
yeah.
And no matter how much crap I take, it develops like I guess you could say like a cyst and it's ready to explode. The pressure
Right.
builds and builds and builds. And if you don't work on either getting rid of it, taking it out, or putting more patience into your life, maybe think about how you say things, or maybe you just don't need to say anything and just spend a day or two listening to people. Observe. What have you missed along the way, in other words?
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse. I'm saying, as far as patience is concerned, like I
Mhm,
have patience like you wouldn't believe, man. And one time, my dad, is like what 74 now,
mhm.
and he pulled me to the side and said, "Yo, you are so effing patient, man. Why don't you just blow up sometimes?" I'm like,
What
"Yeah,
does that get?
I do, but it just takes a lot." You know what I'm saying? He's like, "Yo, you are so laid back, man. I mean, you've always been laid back, even when you were little." I'm like, yeah, I need a beer. I don't know where this is going, but yeah,
But I think there's a lot of people that are around me that are like that at times, and then there's some people that are definitely explosive and impulsive, and they let everything out, and they'll say, "Hey, as long as I got it off my chest, I'm good with it." I've
right,
adapted that for a lot of my life, but I'll tell you what that got me? It got me a lot of heartache, a lot of regret, and I didn't connect with people. I created like a bomb and it's like
right.
exploded all over, and it could be reflective onto my family or to my friends, or who really is a friend. A lot of us are asking that question, can I trust? And I think that the one thing about character right now especially is when it comes to trust, you don't have to trust everything. It's okay. You don't have to trust. You can trust in spaces or moments or just certain areas, you know because people don't always have your best interest at heart. They have their interests, but they will align if you're more patient with yourself and them. And it's like, oh yeah, I want to be around that guy. Yo, I want to be around cyber shots because you know what? This guy, he's calm, he's cool, you know.
Don't do that.
You know
Don't
what I
do that.
mean? Like these are my accolades. These are actually my honest descriptions of you. He's calm and collective a lot of times. You don't know everything what to say, but you're just a real guy to me. And I think more of us men need to take observance of how we can learn from that, because by being calm more often allows us to pivot away from danger
Yeah,
and bad situations, bad choices. I, I'm I learn from, like, for example, we do blank canvas, you know,
exactly.
and I've been doing it for almost what, 2 years,
Hmm.
and one thing I've learned is to calm the ego down just enough to now where people will tell me, I love listening to you guys. I love listening to your perspective. And as opposed to when I was on Anchor and sometimes I only got one listen or five listens because it was a friend of mine. And I don't know how long, but the transition of
Hey,
shaping that better character has outcomes that I can be proud of.
no doubt, man. No doubt. And also speaking of blank canvas, like sometimes when you and Curtis, Mr. No Show, we're doing the show. I'm so used to listening to you guys because I'm on the show on Saturdays. I'm so used to listening to y'all on Tuesdays. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Sometimes I forget I'm on the show. I'm just listening.
All right. And
What
go ahead.
do you think?
Your signal's kind of coming in and out. I don't know what happened. Still there? Hmm. Okay.
Um,
All right.
check one,
Yeah, your signal's coming in and out, so you could be in the matrix.
check two.
Let's see.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyhow,
I don't know what's going on.
yeah, but hey, Cyber, thanks so much for coming out. I don't know if it's the app or what it is, but it's definitely it may be glitching on my half. Let's see. All right. Well, I'm not really sure, but anyhow, I'm going to be starting to bring the show to a close. So, my final notes on character, I will say this. The more that you take conscionable time to train it, to put it into working for you, may make the difference. Many of our daily issues and obstacles can be treated in how we shape our character. Debating on character, no matter where you are from what you are, a part is the ground of the essential to be balanced. Let's start working on the balance of every day. There are plenty of materials, books, videos, lectures, you name it, you have it. But my recommendation is to start with Stoicism. I love Stoicism, but I also love, other thinkers. I love Sufism. I really enjoy Sufism. I enjoy Rumi, Osho. These are great mentors from the past, you know, um, and artists, music. There are plenty of things that can help shape our character to maybe giving us a reaction and timing that we truly deserve, and when we realize what this does overall, when we look back at our own legacy, a lot of times we don't realize how far our legacy has come. But when people speak more of you in a positive light than you speak of yourself, people say, "Oh yeah, I love listening to Architect. Yo, I love listening to Jason. He's a great guy, man." I don't have to say this. I don't need to project this about myself. Why? Because just like the example of the good guy I was talking about, a man who walks in the room and he's well put together and he's distinguished, calm, collected. People say, "Oh, who is that?" People are attracted to a balance. Now, some people will say, "Well, I want fairness," but really, in essence, we're looking at balance. Look about how character and training your character can work for you. If we think about it, we practice on it, we mentor, lament, whatever you want to call it, what have you. The more that we work on it every day could make the biggest difference and the outcomes that we live with each and every day. Well, that's all the time that I have for man to man voices and stories. Thank you all for coming out. What is your character? Are you shaping it? Let's check it out. Let's be a part of it. Let's make a difference. I'm 70 the Architect. You'll be able to check me out on Rise and Grind as well as Blank Canvas within the next 2 weeks. My co-host Cybershots and Mr. No Show will be back on in another week or so. So be on the lookout for that. And I'll let you know my schedule, ladies and gentlemen. May you all have a great day and enjoy your Sunday. And if you like, share and subscribe. I'm on YouTube right now. You can go back and watch this talk and leave a comment, share with a friend. It could make the biggest difference in someone who's having a really rough time in their life, but it could start today. It can make a difference maybe for 5 minutes, giving themselves enough emotional space, to the next thing that they have to attend to. Whether you're a dad or a single man or whatever, you're a leader of a business, shape that character for better outcomes. Well, we'll see you all next time, ladies and gents. We'll talk to you later.